the United States of America. This is a chronological overview of the 50 states and 16 territories of the United States of America, their entrance into the Union, their capitals, land sizes, mottos, nicknames, great sales, and major wars set in the timeline. Please note the deplorable treatment of the Native American Indians by way of massacres, land grabs, and broken treaties, replete throughout the history of the United States from the beginning and to this day at Standing Rock, has been purposely left out of this historical examination, as it deserves a thorough, separate treatment. Likewise, the inhumane capture, transport, and despicable enslavement of people of African descent, so vital to the formation and growth of the United States, have too been left out of this historical rendition, as only a separate historical rendering can do them justice. To be sure, the plights of the Native American Indians and the African Americans are inseparable threads woven into the fabric of this nation, now and forever. The United States of America, Declaration of Independence, July 4th, 1776. Capital, Washington, D.C. Land, 3.8 million square miles. States, 50. Territories, 16. Motto, E pluribus unum. Out of many, one. Nickname, Land of the Free. American Revolutionary War against Britain, 1775 through 1783. American casualties, 25,000 killed, 25,000 wounded. First state, Delaware, entered the Union on December 7, 1787. Capital, Dover. Land, 1,954 square miles. Settled 1638. Motto, Liberty and Independence. Nickname, the First State. Second state, Pennsylvania, entered the Union on December 12, 1787. Capital, Harrisburg. Land, 44,817 square miles. Settled 1682. Motto, Virtue, Liberty, and Independence. Nickname, the Keystone State. Third state, New Jersey, entered the Union on December 18th, 1787. Capital, Trenton. Land, 7,417 square miles. Settled, 1660. Motto, Liberty and Prosperity. Nickname, the Garden State. Fourth state. Georgia entered the Union on January 2nd, 1788. Capital, Atlanta. Land, 57,906 square miles. Settled, 1733. Motto, wisdom, justice, and moderation. Nickname, the Peach State. Fifth state, Connecticut, entered the Union on January 9, 1788. Capital, Hartford. Land, 4,844 square miles. Settled, 1634. Motto, he who transplants still sustains. Nickname, the Constitution State. Sixth state, Massachusetts, entered the Union on February 6, 1788. Capital, Boston. Land, 7,840 square miles. Settled, 1620. Motto, by the sword we seek peace, but peace only under liberty. Nickname, the Bay State. Seventh state, Maryland, entered the Union on April 28, 1788. Capital, Annapolis. Land, 9,774 square miles. Settled, 1634. Motto, manly deeds, womanly words. Nickname, the Old Line State. Eighth state, South Carolina, entered the Union on May 23, 1788. Capital, Columbia. Land, 30,109 square miles. Settled, 1670. Motto, while I breathe, I hope. Nickname, the Palmetto State. Ninth state, New Hampshire, entered the Union on June 21st, 1788. Capital, Concord. Land, 8,968 square miles. Settled, 1623. Motto, live free or die. Nickname, the Granite State. Tenth state, Virginia, entered the Union on June 25th, 1788. Capital, Richmond. Land, 39,594 square miles. Settled, 1607. Motto, Sic Semper Tyrannis, thus always to tyrants. Nickname, the Old Dominion. Eleventh state, New York, entered the Union on July 26, 1788. Capital, Albany. Land, 47,214 square miles. Settled, 1614. Motto, Excelsior, ever upwards. Nickname, the Empire State. 12th state, North Carolina, entered the Union on November 21st, 1789. Capital, Raleigh. Land, 48,711 square miles. Settled, 1660. Motto, to be rather that to seem. Nickname, the Tar Heel State. 13th state, Rhode Island, entered the Union on May 29th, 1790. Capital, Providence. Land, 1,045 square miles. Settled, 1636. Motto, Hope. Nickname, the Ocean State. Washington, D.C., capital of the U.s.a. The Capital District was formed on July 16, 1790. Land, 61.05 square miles. Motto, Justice for All. Nickname, Nation's Capital. 14th state, Vermont, entered the Union on March 4th, 1791. Capital, Montpelier. Land, 9,250 square miles. Settled, 1724. Motto, Freedom and Unity. Nickname, the Green Mountain State. 15th state, Kentucky, entered the Union on June 1st, 1792. Capital, Frankfort. Land, 39,728 square miles. Settled, 1774. Motto, United we stand, divided we fall. Nickname, the Bluegrass State. 16th state, Tennessee, entered the Union on June 1st, 1796. Capital, Nashville. Land, 41,217 square miles. Settled 1769. Motto: agriculture and commerce. Nickname: the volunteer state. 17th state, Ohio, entered the Union on March 1st, 1803. Capital: Columbus. Land: 40,948 square miles. Settled 1788. Motto: with God all things are possible. Nickname: the Buckeye State. 18th state, Louisiana, entered the Union on April 30th, 1812. Capital: Baton Rouge. Land: 43,562 square miles. Settled 1699. Motto: Union, Justice, and Confidence. Nickname: the Pelican State. War of 1812 against Britain, 1812 to 1815. 15,000 killed, 4,505 wounded. 19th state, Indiana, entered the Union on December 11th, 1816. Capital: Indianapolis. Land: 35,867 square miles. Settled 1733. Motto: the Crossroads of America. Nickname: the Hoosier State. '20th state, Mississippi, entered the Union on December 10th, 1817. Capital: Jackson. Land: 46,907 square miles. Settled 1699. Motto: by valor in arms. Nickname: the Magnolia State. 21st state, Illinois, entered the Union on December 3rd, 1818. Capital: Springfield. Land: 55,584 square miles. Settled 1720. Motto: state sovereignty, national union. Nickname: the Prairie State. 22nd state, Alabama, entered the Union on December 14th, 1819. Capital: Montgomery. Land: 50,744 square miles. Settled 1702. Motto: we dare defend our rights. Nickname: the Yellowhammer State. 23rd state, Maine entered the Union on March 15th, 1820. Capital, Augusta. Land, 30,862 square miles. Settled, 1624. Motto, I lead. Nickname, the Pine Tree State. Fourth state, Missouri, entered the Union on August 10th, 1821. Capital, Jefferson City. Land, 68,886 square miles. Settled, 1735. Motto, the welfare of the people shall be the supreme law. Nickname, the Show Me State. Fifth state, Arkansas, entered the Union on June 15th, 1836. Capital, Little Rock. Land, 52,068 square miles. Settled, 1686. Motto, the people rule. Nickname, the Natural State. Sixth state, Michigan, entered the Union on January 26, 1837. Capital, Lansing. Land, 56,804 square miles. Settled, 1668. Motto, if you seek a pleasant peninsula, look around you. Nickname, the Wolverine State. Seventh state, Florida, entered the Union on March 3rd, 1845. Capital, Tallahassee. Land, 53,927 square miles. Settled, 1565. Motto, in God we trust. Nickname, the Sunshine State. '28th state, Texas, entered the Union on December 29th, 1845. Capital, Austin. Land, 261,797 square miles. Settled, 1682. Motto, friendship. Nickname, the Lone Star State. Mexican-American War, 1846 through 1848. 13,283 killed, 4,152 wounded. '29th state, Iowa, entered the Union on December 28th, 1846. Capital, Des Moines. Land, 55,869 square miles. Settled, 1788. Motto, our liberties we prize, and our rights we will maintain. Nickname, the Hawkeye State. '30th state, Wisconsin. Entered the Union on May 29, 1848. Capital, Madison. Land, 54,310 square miles. Settled, 1766. Motto, forward. Nickname, the Badger State. '31st state, California. Entered the Union on September 9th, 1850. Capital, Sacramento. Land, 155,959 square miles. Settled, 1769. Motto, Eureka, I have found it. Nickname, the Golden State. '32nd state, Minnesota. Entered the Union on May 11th, 1858. Capital, St. Paul. Land, 79,610 square miles. Settled, 1805. Motto, the North Star. Nickname, Land of 10,000 Lakes. '33rd state, Oregon. Entered the Union on February 14th, 1859. Capital, Salem. Land, 95,997 square miles. Settled, 1811. Motto, she flies with her own wings. Nickname, the Beaver State. '34th state, Kansas. Entered the Union on January 29th, 1861. Capital, Topeka. Land, 81,815 square miles. Settled, 1727. Motto, to the stars through difficulties. Nickname, the Sunflower State. American Civil War. Union, Northern Free States versus Confederacy, Southern Slave States. Combined casualties, 750,000 plus or minus killed. 500,000 plus or minus wounded. 35th state, West Virginia, entered the Union on June 20th, 1863. Capital, Charleston. Land, 24,077 square miles. Settled, 1727. Motto, mountaineers are always free. Nickname, the Mountain State. Sixth state, Nevada, entered the Union on October 31st, 1864. Capital, Carson City. Land, 109,826 square miles. Settled, 1849. Motto, all for our country. Nickname, the Sagebrush State. Seventh state, Nebraska, entered the Union on March 1st, 1867. Capital, Lincoln. Land, 76,872 square miles. Settled, 1823. Motto, equality before law. Nickname, the Cornhusker State. State, Colorado, entered the Union on August 1st, 1876. Capital, Denver. Land, 103,717 square miles. Settled, 1858. Motto, nothing without Providence. Nickname, the Centennial State. Ninth state, North Dakota, entered the Union on November 2nd, 1889. Capital, Bismarck. Land, 68,976 square miles. Settled, 1812. Motto, liberty and union, now and forever, one and inseparable. Nickname, the Sioux State. '40th state, South Dakota, entered the Union on November 2nd, 1889. Capital, Pierre. Land, 75,885 square miles. Settled, 1859. Motto, under God, the people rule. Nickname, Mount Rushmore State. 41st state, Montana, entered the Union on November 8, 1889. Capital, Helena. Land, 145,552 square miles. Settled, 1809. Motto, gold and silver. Nickname, the Treasure State. Second state, Washington, entered the Union on November 11th, 1889. Capital, Olympia. Land, 66,544 square miles. Settled, 1811. Motto, by and by. Nickname, the Evergreen State. Third state, Idaho, entered the Union on July 3rd, 1890. Capital, Boise. Land, 82,747 square miles. Settled, 1842. Motto, it is forever. Nickname, the Gem State. Fourth state, Wyoming, entered the Union on July 10th, 1890. Capital, Cheyenne. Land, 97,100 square miles. Settled, 1834. Motto, equal rights. Nickname, the Equality State. Fifth state, Utah, entered the Union on January 4th, 1896. Capital, Salt Lake City. Land, 82,144 square miles. Settled, 1847. Motto, industry. Nickname, the Beehive State. Spanish-American War, 1898. 2,446 killed, 1,622 wounded. The Commonwealth of Puerto Rico, U.S. acquired from Spain, December 10th, 1898. Capital, San Juan. Land, 3,515 square miles. Motto, John is his name. St. John the Baptist by Columbus. Nickname, the Island of Enchantment. It's an unincorporated territory of the United States. Guam, acquired from Spain, December 10th, 1898. Capital, Hagatna. Land, 210 square miles. Motto, where America's day begins. Nickname, Hub of the Pacific. It too is an unincorporated territory of the United States. Philippine-American War, 1898 to 1913. 4,196 killed, 2,930 wounded. American Samoa, U.S. acquired December 2nd, 1899. Capital, Pago Pago. Land, 76.8 square miles. Motto, Samoa, let God be first. Nickname, none. It's an unincorporated territory of the United States. Sixth state, Oklahoma, entered the Union on November 16, 1907. Capital, Oklahoma City. Land, 68,667 square miles. Settled, 1889. Motto, labor conquers all things. Nickname, the Sooner State. Seventh state, New Mexico, entered the Union on January 6, 1912. Capital, Santa Fe. Land, 121,356 square miles. Settled, 1610. Motto, it grows as it goes. Nickname, the Land of Enchantment. Forty-eighth state, Arizona, entered the Union on February 14, 1912. Capital, Phoenix. Land, 113,595 square miles. Settled, 1776. Motto, God enriches. Nickname, the Grand Canyon State. United States Virgin Islands. U.S. purchased from Denmark, January 17, 1917. Capital, Charlotte, Amalie. Land, 133.73 square miles. Motto, united in pride and hope. Nickname, Virgin Islands Beauty. It's an unincorporated territory of the United States. World War I, 1914 to 1918. U.S. entered the war on April 6, 1917, till war's end on November 11th, 1918. 116,516 killed, 204,002 wounded. World War II, 1939 to 1945. The U.S. entered the war on December 7th, 1941. 405,399 killed. 670,846 wounded. The Commonwealth of the Northern Mariana Islands, U.S. Trust Territory, July 18, 1947. Commonwealth in political union with the U.S., March 24, 1976. Capital, Saipan. Land, 183.5 square miles. Motto, none. Nickname, none. It's an unincorporated territory of the United States. Korean War, 1950 to 1953. 36,516 killed. 92,134 wounded. Vietnam War, 1955 to 1975. 58,209 killed. 153,303 wounded. Forty-ninth state, Alaska, entered the Union on January 3rd, 1959. Capital, Juneau. Land, 570,641 square miles. Settled, 1784. Motto, North to the Future. Nickname, The Last Frontier. And the 50th state, Hawaii, entered the Union on August 21st, 1959. Capital, Honolulu. Land, 6,423 square miles. Settled, 1820. Motto, the life of the land is perpetuated in righteousness. Nickname, the Aloha State. The uninhabited territories of the United States. Following are 11 uninhabited territories of the U.s.a., consisting of islands, atolls, and reefs. Do note that the first 10 territories listed were claimed for the U.S. under the U.S. Guano Islands Act of 1856. The act enabled U.S. citizens to claim possession for the U.S. of any unclaimed islands containing guano deposits. Guano deposits refers to the accumulated piles of bird manure fertilizer, the most sought-after fertilizer at that time period. Number 1. Baker Island, claimed 1857 under the Guano Islands Act. Land 0.81 square miles. Number 2. Holland Island, claimed 1857 under the Guano Islands Act. Land 1.7 square miles. Number 3. Jarvis Island, claimed 1857 under the Guano Islands Act. Land 1.7 square miles. 4. Navassa Island, claimed 1857 under the Guano Islands Act. Land 2 square miles. Dispute: Haiti has a competing claim to Navassa Island. Number 5. Johnston Atoll, claimed 1858 under the Guano Islands Act. Land 1.03 square miles. 6. Palmyra Atoll, claimed 1859 under the Guano Islands Act. Land 4.6 square miles. Note: it is an incorporated U.S. territory for science. 7. Midway Islands, claimed 1859 under the Guano Islands Act. Land 2.4 square miles. Note: made a formal possession of the U.S. on August 28, 1867. Number 8. Kingman Reef, claimed 1860 under the Guano Islands Act. Land 29 square miles. Note: annexed by the U.S. on May 10, 1922. Number 9. Bajo Nuevo Bank, claimed 1869 under the Guano Islands Act. Land 39 square miles. Note: sovereignty dispute with Jamaica and Nicaragua, and the bank is currently controlled by Colombia. Number 10. Sirenilla Bank, claimed 1879 and 1880 under the Guano Islands Act. Land 745 square miles of submerged reefs. Note: claimed by Honduras and Nicaragua, and is currently administered by Colombia. Number 11. Wake Island, formerly annexed by the U.S. on January 17, 1899. Land 2.73 square miles. Note: Wake Island Airfield has a 9,800-foot runway, which is used primarily to refuel military aircraft and for emergency landings. The Reagan Test Site missile launch facility is on the island, and 94 military personnel live on the island, and access is restricted. Motto: where America's Day really begins. Please note, this timeline does not include dozens of warring conflicts domestically involving Native American Indians, and dozens on foreign soil. Afghanistan War, 2001 to present. American casualties, 2,356 killed, 18,675 wounded. Iraq War, 2003 to 2011. American casualties, 4,497 killed, 32,222 wounded. This has been a Broken Star production. Thank you for watching.